friend. Happy Friday. How's everybody doing this evening? It is good to see you folks. I was a minute late because I was doing a last minute tobacco change. I was trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to smoke tonight, and I did. So, anyway, happy Friday. Great to see you folks. I am enjoying some Haunted Bookshop right now in the Matches Memorial Friday Sabanelli, as is the tradition here on the CaneRod Pipes Virtual Pipe Club Friday night live stream. And let's see who we got visiting with us tonight so far. We got Pondering with Pepe's Pipes, whose arms are tired. Good to see you, Pepe. There's Chris Weber. Great to see you, Chris and Big Dave. James Steidle, Gary Edminster, Flint Hill Briar, Signalman Tony from Rhode Island. Hello, hello. Michael Case. He's got a nice pot of tea, trying to dry out from a little outing. Dry out from your little outing. Is it raining, Michael? A lot of different ways we can interpret that. Gary's got a cold. Oh, no. My wife apparently picked up a cold last night from those snotty little trick-or-treaters in Pittsburgh. I did not see a single trick-or-treater all night. Of course, I spent most of the night in a bar. That might explain it. I was having dinner. I wasn't like just carousing. There was a little bit of carousing, but it was mostly just dinner. Parikh Piper, Skip. Great to see you, Skip. And Doug Owen. What's the story on the intro? The Cobb Churchwarden with the angled stem. Those were Cobb Churchwardens with angled stems that I made a long time ago, Doug. That's pretty much the full story. Somebody wanted them, I made them. Donnie T, first time joining. Well, welcome, Donnie. It's great to see you. Hope you have a great time. And David Bookshop has got Puritan's Muse in a Graybow Big Pipe. Very nice. Oh, rain, and more rain. Gotcha, Michael. Yeah. We had a little bit of rain here this morning. But it has been unseasonably warm. Got up to 80 today. It was in the 70s yesterday. Very unusual for this time of year. Which was kind of okay by me because, as you might have heard from my Sunday video last week, my furnace broke. The old furnace. Furnace itself was fine. The furnace does both the hot water and the heat for the house. We just didn't have heat. We had plenty of hot water. So the boiler was working, the oil burner was working, but something called the aquastat broke. And when the guy told me my aquastat was bad, I thought that was a cartoon character or something. So anyway, I had to get a new aquastat. Now everything's working great. Couch, in need of a colonoscopy. My goodness, Couch. Well, bite the bullet and do it. They're important. And there's Steph and Skip Kane. Hello, Steph. Good to see you. Already said hello to your hubby. And Patrick Grant. Good to see you, Patrick. Yeah, so we had, I realized it wasn't working on Sunday morning. And the problem was it was quite warm during the day. Like we were getting into the 70s, so that was fine. But at night it was dropping down to like 36, 37 in that range, which meant by the time I got up in the morning, it was chilly enough to be uncomfortable. And the dogs were not happy at all. But it took him all of 15 minutes to fix it. And believe me, if I could get his hourly rate, I'd be a very happy man. Of course, he had to pay for parts and everything else. But Flint Hill Briar, starting with Sir Walter Raleigh Aromatic in the Bear Mirror, and then he's going to move on to Capstan Blue and the Sabanelli Canadian. Sounds like you got a great evening planned. Doug, don't you all love the Dodgers movie? You know what, Doug? I wasn't a fan of either of them, but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Yeah, I agree with you there. But I know there's a lot of Yankees fans out there that are disappointed. You know, it happens. Tomorrow's another. Next. There's another season coming. There we go. Couldn't quite get my my mouth to work around that thing. Big Dave is encouraging Couch to get his colonoscopy done. Yes, indeed. I had mine done about a year and a half ago, and it used to be every 5 years, and he told me that now it's every 10 years. So I was happy to hear that. And the way they do it now, they just, at least my experience is that you do not stay awake for it anymore. I have not had an awake one in a very long time. They used to give you like a twilight, I think is what they called it, so you were still kind of up, but you didn't feel anything. Now you just go to sleep and you wake up and it's done. Patrick Grant's got Skiff Mixture in his Friday 7, Ellie. Very cool. Big Dave says the Yankees played like the Bad News Bears. Didn't the Bad News Bears win, Big Dave? Sorry, gotta rub it in a little. Phil Rivera. Hello, Phil. Good to see you, buddy. Phil entering the chat reminds me I need to drink something. Don't know why I associate Phil with beer, but because Phil's given me some really good beer advice over the years. I am going to have... This is not what I thought it was. I thought I had one of those imperial stouts left, but instead I'm having a Cape May Hazy Dawn IPA. I'm disappointed. I really thought I was having a stout tonight. That'll teach me not to look. More of that when I tell you what my second tobacco is tonight. Tropical Waves of Flavor. I've had one of these before on the stream. These are, I don't know, something's happened to me recently. I think, when you get older, you lose your sense of taste, and you start wanting to eat things and taste things that are weird, like you put more hot pepper and garlic and stuff, and for some reason, over the past 6 months, IPAs have not been tasting good to me, but for some reason, I want to drink them. It's a weird thing. Not a lot of them. There's only like 2 that I've found I enjoy. I've had some that I thought were disgusting. So anyway, Cape May Hazy Dawn, not bad stuff. Piper on the 45. Hello to you, sir. Doug, I agree with you, but unfortunately, that's becoming more and more commonplace. It's not just Yankees fans. Patrick has got some great Jones bourbon, the only distillery in Manhattan. How about that? Did the Bad News Bears lose? I don't remember the Bad News Bears. In fact, I don't remember if I ever even saw the Bad News Bears. So they lost their final game? If you say so, Big Dave. So let's see if we can get this on one pour. I've been having a difficulty having to do double pours lately. So there's a little restaurant pub type place that's between my house and where my chiropractor is. I go to the chiropractor every other Thursday. And since I've been bacheloring, I'm bacheloring again, by the way. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Couldn't ask for better than that, could you? Since I've been a bachelor for a while, I've been stopping on my way home from the chiropractor to have dinner there. And this past week was not a chiropractor week. This was yesterday, but it was Halloween, and I thought, oh, what the heck. It's just me and the dogs. I'm going to go do something fun so I don't have to deal with the trick-or-treaters. And I thought maybe they'd be in costume. Well, it turned out my favorite bartendress, the one that occasionally slips me a free beer, was in costume, but the costume was primarily composed of black dots on her face. I have no idea what that was supposed to be. And of course, there was no baseball, so it just was kind of a different experience. Gary Edminster, large basket pipe pot and shape with vanilla custard. See how it goes with the cold. I hope you can taste something there. And Phil's saying I got to try Jeremiah Red Irish Ale. Well, I will look for that, Phil. Ron Hardcrackers missed Halloween because he had to take his wife's brother to Little Rock, Arkansas. VA, early Friday morning appointment. The VA puts us in a motel room Thursday. Everything went good. I'm glad everything went good there, Ron. James Steidel likes non-alcoholic beer. Okay. Sam Adams, just the Haze IPA is really good. Good for you, James. Sounds like it's time for some deer tongue. Yeah. Well, she's coming back on Monday. Donnie T, that's just the way it goes. Hey, one of my coworkers gave me the best idea. I don't have kids, but if I did, I would be doing this. She's got two very little kids, and I think they're like 1 and 2 years old, maybe 2 and 3 years old. I don't remember. But she sends her husband, she dresses him up, sends her husband out with him, and she buys a small amount of candy. And then the husband like goes around the neighborhood and comes back and drops off the candy, and she gives out that candy, and it'll go like in a larger circle and drop off. So she basically recycles Halloween candy all night. Bill got yelled at by an acupuncturist for using a chiropractor. There's a joke in there, Phil. I just can't think of it, but I'm sorry you got that problem. That's terrible. If it makes a difference, my chiropractor is actually an acupuncturist too. I doubt it makes a difference. Ginger beers are tasty, Steph. Yeah, I've enjoyed a few of them. Matteo Clemente. I have not heard from the Artful Codger in a long time. I should probably reach out to him. Haven't seen him on Instagram or anything, so I don't know what's going on. But thank you for the reminder. I'll try to send him a message this weekend and see if I can get in touch with him. Paragon Piper, how you doing? You got to wonder about the cities, Ron. It does seem to be a site of interest. Yeah, Doug, it's an interesting story. Ginger beer was actually what you would have to drink, and you'd have to drink a lot of it to think that ginger was more attractive than Marianne. So that's how it got its name. I know, Phil. I know they can do damage. They can. And I resisted it for a very long time. Um, I found a good one. I explained to them my concerns. They explained to me why I was wrong about my concerns in their particular case, and they explained that there are some chiropractors that do things a certain way and they do it this way, and I researched it, and I may be completely wrong, but I feel better after it, so right now I'm sticking with it. The Smooth Piper. Hello, Peter. Happy Friday to you, sir. Couch purchased another bicycle as a winter beater. Should he name it after his good... Oh. Well, you have like 4 different good friends that are all named Mike, sorry, Couch, so you go right ahead. You go right ahead. We'll all guess who you named it after. Gary Edminster, how about Sarge? Haven't heard from Sarge in quite a while either, Gary. No, Doug. Marianne was as pure as freshly laundered linen. The Smooth Piper's got Haunted Bookshop in the Friday Savinelli. Very nice, Peter. Ginger beer and vodka makes the Moscow Mule. Sounds good, Michael. I was at a bar in Pittsburgh. It sounds like I spent a lot of time at bars. I like eating at bars. I just like that I don't have to sit at a table by myself. That feels kind of weird to me. And you get to interact with people sometimes, but it's a very limited interaction. So I like that. I like those micro social things. So if I'm alone, I often will eat at a bar or at a diner counter as well. So I don't want you to think I'm like hanging out in bars all the time, but I do spend a lot of time in there for food. And I was at one in Pittsburgh recently, and I noticed they had this whole rack of copper cups that, not old copper, like they were shiny copper. And I asked the bartenders what they were for, and she explained that they were for Moscow mules, and apparently they're traditionally served out of copper mugs. This is the second time I've heard of a Moscow mule, Michael. Glad Skip was able to get some relief for you there, Steph. Those nerves can, well, I was going to say be a pain, but that sounds silly. Hey, Pepe's back. Good to see you, Pepe. Yeah, Paragon, I hear as many stories like yours as I hear like Phil's, and I don't know what the right answer is, to be honest with you, but I've seen benefit, and I think my chiropractor has been a godsend, but I know there are plenty of stories going the other way. And I think I've told the story about my grandfather. If I haven't, I will in a moment. Oh, Flint Hill, that's not good. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a gravel bike, but and I certainly didn't know you could pay that much money for a bike. You mean a bike with pedals, right? Last time I bought a bike, I think it was like $120. Unbound 100-mile gravel race. Where do you get 100 miles worth of gravel, Flint? I must have slept through that fad, Doug, which, I do that a lot. So, no, Michael Case, I am not a lumberjack. Thank you for asking. Yeah, Phil, I agree. In the situation you're in, it would be kind of silly to take that risk. So Ron just finished a bowl of 3 Friars, wonderful tobacco, in an old battered, beat up bent Sassini with a, that's hard to say, Ron, with a bottle of Oktoberfest Weiss beer from the local Aldi. Sounds good. So my grandfather was a fan of chiropractors, and he used to call it sciatica. He had pain that would originate in his back and shoot down one of his legs, and it was really bad when it happened. I mean, he would have to pretty much check out for a while until it settled down. And he would go to a chiropractor, and he'd be good to go for another couple weeks, and it was great. And then it started to get really bad, and chiropractor wasn't, and the chiropractor referred him to somebody else that was like doing leaf massages and stuff, and he went through this whole series of you know what I would have to say are like crazy holistic type uh, fake cures, snake oil type things. But it was his sciatica, and nobody ever thought that it was anything but this pinched nerve or whatever that the chiropractor was treating for all these years. And ultimately, he was diagnosed. He had a lymphoma that had actually attached to his spine, and that's what was causing the pain all along. And ultimately, it wound up being the thing that killed him after multiple surgeries and chemotherapy and everything. I mean, the last couple of years of his life were not very good. And, I think about it a lot, and who knows, would he got diagnosed earlier if he had gone to a non-chiropractor for help? I don't know, because, most of the time you go to a doctor with a pain. If you're not laying on the floor screaming, they tell you to stretch or something. And, so I don't know if it would have made a bit of difference, but I, for a very long time, was angry at chiropractors over that. I just believe that they killed them. Now I realize that I'm probably not being fair in that assessment, although they just certainly didn't help him. Does anybody know what the popular mixed drink is nowadays? Asks Parikh Piper Skip. I certainly don't. Kansas has thousands of miles of gravel and dirt roads. There you go. Oh, Armchair Piper Ed. Catching up. He has the Moscow Mule mugs and he agrees on Marianne. And do you agree that ginger beer was invented in order to make people think that ginger was more attractive? Because I think that makes perfect sense. Yeah, Phil, the pumpkin thing. Yeah, I gotta say, other than the couple times I went to the beer distributor and they had the big pumpkin ale display, I've been pretty unassaulted by everything tastes like pumpkin season this year. It seems like for whatever reason that just hasn't been a big thing this year, which makes me happy. Old fashions were making a comeback. My wife went to a Halloween party last night, which was the house across the street from her parents' house. I don't think it was really a party. I think it was a couple of elderly neighbors that opened a bottle of whiskey. But anyway, I shouldn't have said it, elderly neighbors. They weren't all elderly. She said that they made Manhattans. I don't remember why. Oh, because of old fashioned. Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. A Marianne Mule would not be a bad drink at all, Paragon. You know, Couch, that might say something. Flint Hill likes the classy old cocktails. I like the cocktails that have nothing in them but liquor. I'm not a big mixed drink guy. Well, Phil, your first mistake was expecting to get coffee at Starbucks. Big Cairo School in Portland. Not surprised, Michael. Northwest School of Oriental Medicine? Hmm. Yeah, you're right, Ed. It doesn't, the timelines don't line up, but I just like the story. Patrick loves bourbon Manhattans. Okay. I was thinking the other day that whiskey sours were big when I was a kid. Whiskey sours and Tom Collins seemed to be the drinks that, like when my grandparents would have a party and my aunts and uncles would have their friends over and stuff, that was what was being mixed up a lot. And I I knew what a Tom Collins was, but I did not know what was in a whiskey sour. So out of curiosity, I checked, and apparently there's egg white in it, which really surprised me. That doesn't sound at all appetizing. Adding egg white to whiskey seems like it would make curdles. And vodka straight or vodka. I can't do vodka straight, Phil. I had a bad experience. Rye whiskey's good stuff with him. Vodka tonic, okay. And yeah, I love a dirty martini. Dirty martini, very, very, very dry. I think acupuncture is a lot safer, Big Dave. They're not really manipulating you other than turning you into a pincushion. But yeah, a lot of people swear by it. I'm with you, Steph. I mean, not bourbon so much, but usually whiskey or rye whiskey, and I'll just drink it neat. That or beer, occasionally wine. Had a really good wine. The state store here, the way Pennsylvania sells stuff, you have to go through state stores and all that, and they have something called the Chairman's Selection. the chairman of the liquor control board supposedly picks these wines, which is a bunch of nonsense. It's whoever pays enough to get into the list. But you can usually find a fairly good wine in the chairman's selection for like $9. And anytime I go to the liquor store, I'll look at it. And I picked one up recently that was I believe it was a Portuguese wine. And I don't think I've had many Portuguese wine. Red, dry red. I cannot remember the name of it or the grape or anything, but it was good. I liked it. Creator, it's funny you mentioned the HU tobacco release. I got an email from Smoking Pipes, and it was 15% off Cornell and Deal. And I said, oh, cool. And so I went immediately to order, because I always do that when I see 15% off. And I got there, and the big banner was just released HU tobacco. And I said, oh, let me see what this is all about. So I clicked on the first one, and it said out of stock. And then I clicked on the next one. It was they were all out of stock. They'll make more, guys. You don't have to buy it all. Let's see. Ben Smokes Pipes. Hello. Good to see you tonight. Oh, Phil, that is an old school acupuncturist. My goodness. Ahmed Salman, good to see you. That's a good point, Ron. When you're drinking a mixed drink, the flavor actually entices you. It's kind of like drinking a Coke or something. You don't mind having two or three, but yeah, when you're drinking straight liquor, you're not as prone to overindulge. I made mulled wine once for Christmas. I loved it. My wife didn't like it so much, and we wound up with a lot of leftover mulled wine. So Patrick does his bourbon over ice with a squeeze of lime. Nice. Barefoot Vineyards makes a nice Merlot. I'm not a big Merlot guy either, Phil. I usually like things like Cab Sauves or Cab Francs are really good. They're harder to find, but I like a lot of tannin in my red wines. Donnie T, thank you so much, my friend. I'm really glad you enjoyed that. It's not something I do very often. I don't think most people would enjoy it, but I'd like to do something special for Halloween, and yeah, it was an opportunity to do that. I might have done a poem for Memorial Day this year. I can't remember. I think I did. Yeah. Skip, be careful. You might give it both. Put the lime in the coconut and drink it all up. There you go. I don't know if I would do that, to be honest. I know that's true with beer, Phil. Phil's telling me to drink soda at room temperature. I don't have a soda of choice. I haven't drunk soda in a very, very long time. And when I have had it, it's just too darn sweet for me. But one of the reasons why English beers are served not at room temperature, but much warmer than we're used to, is that it really allows you to taste the flavor. The cold actually anesthetizes your taste buds, so you're not getting the full flavor of the beer, which for a lot of our beers is probably a good thing. Pepe's thinking about brewing beer. I brewed beer back when I was in graduate school. Flint Hill, you just made me feel a little sick. Orange Fanta 50-50 with a cheap lager beer. Ugh. The Uncola. Yes, Phil. Oh, I do know that look, Ron. Yes, I do know that look. Andrew Sirigliano, happy Friday. Long time no see, buddy. Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. All's great here. Well, you know, Flint Hill, as nasty as your Fanta and beer sounds, um, I really like taking an inexpensive lager, something like a Miller or something like that. And actually, is Miller a lager or an ale? I don't even know. But you know what I mean, a cheap beer. And mixing it 50-50 with tomato juice for a summer drink, it's surprisingly good. And I thought that was going to be disgusting the first time I tried it. And I really love it. It's really refreshing. And you get the great taste of tomato juice, and it's cold, and it gives you a little bit of a kick. It's good stuff. Diet orange soda with Merlot. Oh, good Lord, Phil. Your landlord has problems, doesn't he? Same Smith's Oatmeal Stout for the cold chills of Montana. Sounds like it does the job, Pepe. James Steidle makes tepache, which is a fermented pineapple drink, and a lot of people mix that with beer. Interesting. Clamato Bloody Mary with hot sauce makes a great breakfast drink. That's another one that I got a bit of a weakness for. It's rare, but I will drink a Bloody Mary. And there's a place in Ocean City, Virginia. Is that right? Ocean City, Virginia? Why doesn't that sound right to me? Anyway, my mind ain't right tonight. Uh, Maryland. There we go. Ocean City, Maryland. Um, my wife and I try to go there every year. We didn't get there this year, but we really like going in the early fall. So after the crowds die down and everything, but before it gets too cold. And there is a little like waterfront bar called, I think it's called Mr. Ducks, and it's just got a great atmosphere because it's right there on the water. It's small, but very lively, and the staff is very personable and stuff. And they got crazy things. They must be open late at night, and a lot of kids come in and stuff. So they've got like these plastic duck decoys that have the beaks cut, and they'll put beer in it. And you're supposed to down it out of the beak and things like this. So it's a fun bar. We don't do any of that stuff, but it's just kind of a cool little place. And they make a Bloody Mary there that has more crab and shrimp and stuff in it. It's like a meal, and I really, really like that. It's a great lunch, and they don't skimp on the vodka. Shandy Gaff is equal part beer and ginger beer. Yeah, Michael, that somehow doesn't bother me as much as orange soda. Jeffrey, I have a Thanksgiving cigar ready for consumption. I have a couple of boxes of Thanksgiving cigars that I've had for years. I bought some very special cigars, and I'm not going to get into it because I'm honestly not able to remember even the name of the company. There was a gentleman named Gary, and I can't remember his last name, but I got to know him through Twitter actually, and he started his own cigar company. And he, when people do this, they're not like rolling cigars in their basement or something. They're paying a big cigar company to make them special cigars and box them and everything, and they just distribute them. But he had just had a real talent for directing them and for choosing, and these are fantastic cigars. I wish I could remember the name, but it's just not coming to me right now. He would put out a new one every year, and I used to buy them, and I decided that they were so special that I was only going to smoke one on Thanksgiving every year. The problem is I forget, and they've been sitting in my humidor for probably going on 15 years now. So yeah, maybe I'll remember this year. Well, there you go, Paragon. You drink whenever you want. I mean, no one to judge you as long as you're in control of yourself. That's all that matters. And a good strong cigar in the morning, yeah, I agree. Cheap red wine with Coke. Oh my goodness, Ron. The things that people will drink. You remember my trip to that place, Michael? Was that place the bar I was talking about? The Mr. Ducks? I do like good strong ginger beers or ginger ales, Phil. The non-alcoholic ones are fine. Yeah, I drink those for the flavor. So that is something I like. Is it Grosvenor's or Grosvenor's ginger ale, which is like double the amount of ginger? That's good stuff. I don't drink it very often, but yeah. Ah, thank you for the reminder, Patrick. Tomorrow night, tomorrow, no, it must be, is that Sunday morning, Patrick, or is that Saturday morning? Because if it's Saturday morning, it's tonight. Anyway, clocks go back. Mayflower cigars sound perfect for Thanksgiving, Flint Hill. Oh, Phil, that's kind of you to pull off the road. Are you all ready for the move, Phil? I apologize if I missed it. I should mention that I have been basically absent from Instagram lately. I've just had too much going on, and I check in every couple days, and I see that people leave me a bunch of messages, and I go in and I try to say hello and heart them and everything else. But um, I've been a bad friend on Instagram lately, so I apologize for that. 2 a.m. Sunday. Gotcha, Patrick. Pepe, I've thought about making kombucha, but it seems like the kind of thing that I could kill myself with. I do kind of enjoy kombucha. Um, yeah, it's another one of those things, kind of like I was saying with the beer and tomato juice. It's just a very refreshing drink, and I like that on a summer day. Bundaberg is a good ginger beer, says James Style. Keep an eye out for that. You confuse the duck for the big chicken. Oh, yes. Okay. So I do have a picture of myself with a big chicken Now that is actually it's not far from there, but that is oh, what's the name of the big island with the wild horses that I can't think of the name of? You're not getting the best version of me tonight. I seem to be very forgetful. Uh, anyway, there's an island off the coast of Virginia that has these wild horses that's very famous, and that's where the big chicken is. Uh, but that's not the duck. And that's just at a gas station. I have no idea where the big chicken is there. Mushroom leg, good to see you, buddy. Rock and roll will never die, says creator. Let's hope. I know, Phil. I know that drive's going to be a real pain, but hey, thank goodness you're doing it, buddy. Thank goodness. Kombucha is good for the gut, yeah. And yes, Smooth, we are losing an hour. Not sure the moonshine rig is worth it. Chincotegua, it's something like that, Skip. It doesn't seem exactly right, but it's something Tigua. Acetigua, maybe? Acetigua. I'm pretty certain that's it. Acetigua is what Gary's saying. Yeah. Oh, Phil, you're welcome, buddy. We're excited for you, and we're hoping that you get off to a great start in the new place, and we're really looking forward to watching that happen. Time out, losing an hour, fall back. Does that mean we're gaining an hour? I don't know, Chris. I can barely think of words tonight. You want me to do math? So at 2 o'clock in the morning, it will become 1 o'clock in the morning, which means we gain an hour. Yes, we gain an hour. That's right. Okay. Thank you, Chris. You saved us all from panicking. Because I know I hate it when I lose an hour. Which means there's one more hour between now and election day. I shouldn't have brought that up. Yes, it's 1 a.m. Groundhog Day. Phil better do a live from his new place, Patrick. Rod and a silver lining indeed. You know, Peter, I kind of get it that, it'd be better if they left it this way, but I've been doing it for so long that I just kind of, it's part of the cycle, and if we stopped doing it, I would miss it. Good point, Mushroom Leg. 2 a.m. pipe on the patio will be 1 a.m. pipe on the patio, but just for that night. Well, Creator, it's technically temporal engineering. I mean, it was done in order to, facilitate farming and stuff like that. So there's a reason behind it. But these days, it's less important, um, with electric lights and all. Although I remember reading somewhere that the cost of not having daylight savings time is astronomical just for the first year because of so many things that would have to be recoded and like airline schedules and train schedules and everything else. It just would be a nightmare to deal with if we didn't do it. Duke City Piper, sadly I did not get to go fishing this fall. Just been too much going on. I would have loved to spend a day on the water, but just couldn't do it. I remember hearing about that, Michael. Those Swedes are special. I am going, not next week, but the week after, to Pittsburgh to take care of my father-in-law's belongings, all of his fly fishing and fly tying stuff. So that'll be a Friday where I probably will not be doing a live stream. Not next Friday, but the Friday after, and we'll talk about it next Friday. Um, but I'm both dreading that because it's going to be emotional and difficult in a lot of ways, but I'm also looking forward to it because it'll kind of be like spending time with him and getting a little bit into his head in terms of how he thought about things, how he organized things. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And my hope is to snag a few small things and be able to tie some flies and take him fishing with me next spring. Oh, Phil, that is cool. Yeah, I may show up on your doorstep, buddy. I'll bring beer, and I promise it will not be pumpkin flavored. Chad Elliott, good to see you, buddy. Glad you finally caught it. Well, the bookshop's lasting a long time tonight, it seems. It is an honor. It is. Thank you, guys. I'm humbled by it, to be honest. Fly tying can be hard depending on the fly, Pepe. And any minute now, Phil's going to make the joke about how hard it, or no, it'll be Doug that makes the joke about how do you get them to sit on the hook, or how do you get their little legs to lay down, or something like that. But yeah, I used to like tying the hard ones. I tied a lot of classic catskill patterns and things like that. I never did any salmon fly tying, which I always thought was very cool, but you need to build up such an inventory of very rare feathers that I just never got into that. Oh, Doug, that would have been a disaster, wouldn't it? Maybe hard's not the right word, Phil. I would agree. It does require some practice and skill, but yeah, it's nothing that anyone can't master if they have the patience. Ah, Chris, that's a version of that joke I hadn't considered before, but yes, you're absolutely right. There we go. The really hard part is tying those tiny arms behind their backs. Doug comes through. I knew it was coming, Doug. Hey, Doug, do you got any nails? And while we're at it, Big David's ice cream. I've heard stories like that, James. Yeah, some of those feathers can really cost a fortune, and it's funny. Some of them are illegal to harvest, but There are arrangements with certain zoos that have those birds where if the feathers naturally fall off, the zoo can collect them and can sell them to people that are licensed isn't the right word because there's no licensing agency, but they can prove that they are going to use them for salmon fly tying. I never put that together before, Michael, but it is a live stream and I'm a fly fisherman. That is kind of fun. I've tied some jigs, hillbilly piper, and they're fun to tie. And they can be very effective, yeah. Good to see you, Donnie. Oh, I always forget the name of that book, and there's a documentary on her, Phil, that is just incredible to watch. Was she Irish or was she Scottish? But she was an incredible fly tyer, doing the old classic salmon flies. Don't even have the hammer. You know, Andrew, whip finish is a really funny thing. I spent about a day teaching myself how to do that. And this was before YouTube, and I didn't have anybody around to teach me. My father-in-law showed it to me very quickly, and I was living in Atlanta at the time, and he was in Pittsburgh, so it was like, yeah, this is how you do it. And I said, okay. And then I tried to do it, and it was a complete disaster. So I spent a day with like books and the little instructions that come with the tool and stuff, and it just clicked at some point. If you guys don't know, it's the knot that you use to finish off the fly. Um, and it's not a complicated knot, and it's not hard to do. There's a lot of knots in that. But there's something about it that is impossible to explain. Like I cannot teach somebody how to whip finish. I can do it. I can do it without thinking, but I can't teach anybody how to do it because it's just something that I automatically do. Um, yeah, it's a funny thing. Hummingbird feathers, Phil. You must have been tying some tiny flies. Oh yeah, taciturn Richard. That's how they get around when their wings are tired. I don't use CA glue at all fly tying, Phil. I use it's a 50-50 mix. So it's an old school thing. It's a 50-50 mix of spar varnish and turpentine. And when I tie in a group, they all yell at me because it smells like turpentine. But it sinks into the thread before it dries. It makes a very durable head cement. Yeah, yeah, Andrew, it's a lot like retrohaling. You're right. I've done quite a few midges, Doug. I actually have a one of the few fly tying videos I ever did was tying a small midge pattern called Al's Rat. That's still up somewhere, and they can be quite tiny. In fact, that's the fly that I got stuck in my thumb at the Columbus show this year because I used my fly tying sling, my fly fishing sling pack at the show. I certainly haven't seen a problem with the turpentine, Phil, but it does flash off, so it's not like you're dipping it in turpentine. Um, well, Michael, it's been so long since I changed a typewriter ribbon, I wouldn't even know where to begin. I think I was in high school the last time I did that. Folks, I am out of haunted bookshops, so we're gonna we're going to move on to another pipe and another tobacco, and I think you're going to be surprised at what I've chosen for tonight. So let me set this up for you. Technically, we should be choosing the tobacco of the month, but I don't think we're going to do that until January. I know, your own shop. The reason being is today I just ordered, because it was the first day you could order it, a 4-ounce cake of Thanksgiving Day from LJ Peretti. And I'm hoping that's here by next Friday. And that's what I would like to smoke during the month of November, is the Thanksgiving Day. Then in December, I'll probably pull out some Christmassy things. I may, if I remember, I may open up a tin of the plum cake. Not that McBaron plum cake, but the real plum cake. Because I've got a couple tins of that in my cellar somewhere. And I'd like to make that Christmas blend. Plus, I got some stuff I pull out every year at Christmas time. So that'll take care of December, and then we'll pick something at the beginning of January. So we'll get back into the tobacco of the month in January. So hope that's okay. Anyway, tonight I was in an odd mood. I'll tell you the full story. Didn't even know what the typewriter was, Doug. My goodness. I tell you, it's amazing. I'm going to get off on a tangent here, but I was watching a movie the other night, and I was thinking to myself, it was a horror movie, and I was thinking to myself how much cell phones have changed horror, and what it must be like being a 16-year-old kid and watching this movie and wondering, well, why don't they just call? Why don't they just take out their phone and call? It is Jermaine's, Doug. Yeah, I love it. I really love it. Ed, you got some Thanksgiving Day too? Very nice. I've never, I do have some Christmas cheer. Christmas cheer. I do have Christmas cheer. And actually, Patrick, that's been pretty good. When I first read that, I thought the McClellans used to put out a Christmas aromatic every year that I tried like 3 years in a row because people raved about it, and it was disgusting. I was never able to finish a tin of that. Ah, Chad, what did you think of the Mixture 79? That's a polarizing blend to be sure. So anyway, I was going to enjoy. Sorry, I was doing so much cleaning up for the furnace guy that I got dust all over everything. I was going to enjoy some of this Rustica, which I opened up last week for reasons. And I think I showed you last week just how rusty this tin has gotten. So it's lived up to its name. I got to transfer this to a jar. But then I was thinking, you know what? It's fall. It's supposed to be cool, even though it's not. Maybe it's that time of year to try a little bit of Latakia. So yes. I hope I didn't just shock anybody. I should have told you to sit down and not drink anything, because I just announced that I'm going to be smoking a Latakia. And I got a nice one. If I read this label right, because I pulled it out of the drawer without my glasses. So I hope I got the right thing. I did. So what I've got here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not, but it is Pelican. And this is Pelican from September of 2013. And this was a gift from my good friend Brian Doran, Beans. And I've smoked some of it and have really enjoyed it. This is what Latakia used to be like for me, and it kind of reaffirms my feeling that it's more of a shift away from Syrian that turned me against Latakia more than anything. My taste probably changed as well, but so I'm going to have some Pelican. And I am going to smoke that in my Europe. You know what? If y'all don't mind, you're going to get a live reaming session here. Yeah, this is a bit overdue for a reaming. course, I'm not prepared, and I don't have any paper towels here. Oh well. We'll deal with that tomorrow. Normally I try to do maintenance reaming with one of those three-sided reamers that I got that Phil sells, and I love that reamer, but this one was a little bit too far gone for that. Just trying to catch up. Haven't seen Kingfisher in forever, Phil. But yeah, occasionally there's pelican. I think Jermaine still shows up every once in a while, creator. Hard to find. Apparently like HU tobaccos now. I still can't believe that was sold out. I mean, it was within a few hours of getting the email saying, that was a mistake, saying it was available, and it was sold out. All right. Sorry about that. I need to do a little pipe maintenance. Pepe's signing off. Hey, Pepe, you have a great evening. Great to see you as always, buddy. A lot of key is appropriate this time of year. Mixture 965. Yeah, I'm not a fan of 965, Doug. There's something about it I just don't like. And I've had it, I've had it. I guess I can't say I had it from the 70s, but I definitely had it from the 80s, and it just never worked for me. Lord Hogarth, why are you talking about high price? Oh, never mind. Creator, I've had some differences in mixture 79 pouch versus bulk, and I tend to think that the pouch is better. Anyway, I think I'm caught up now. So let me crack this open. Now this was pretty old, pretty well aged when Beans gave it to me. There's a little bit of white fuzz on that. You might be able to pick that up, maybe not. But... And it's a really wonderful blend. This is not a heavy English. It's in fact, I don't know if this is considered an English or a bulk, and I do not remember what's in Pelican, other than it does have some Latakia in it. But this is one of the few, very, very few Latakia blends that I actually look forward to smoking. And I'm so grateful to Brian for sharing this with me. And this fits the season better than Rustica, doesn't it? Yeah, Doug, I know, but that's kind of what they were counting on, is the stocking up mentality. I mean, heck, they say they're going to carry it. Just buy a tin and, it'll be there next time. But no, you've got to buy 20 tins of it. Then nobody else can buy it. And honestly, I wasn't going to buy any. I was just curious about it. So. So you keep going back to the Dunhill blends and they don't work for you, huh, Phil? Yeah. I was okay with early morning pipe. I liked. This is back when I was a Latakia smoker. And I'm trying to remember the other one. And I had some of the, they put out Ye Old Sign, right? I would occasionally try those, but wasn't really into that stuff at the time. Oh, yeah. My primary smoke back then was number 10 Downing Street. It's a Lane English that had a fair amount of white burley in it. I didn't know that at the time. I just knew I liked it. And man, I smoked a lot of number 10 Downing Street. I lived in Pittsburgh, and I have these fond memories of driving late at night or early in the morning from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia or vice versa, and smoking bowl after bowl of number 10 Downing Street, and it just tasted great, and it was just wonderful. And man, I miss that flavor. Star of the East is a good blend, creator. I bet that Brian would. I did share some of this with you, Ed. You were with me when Brian gave it to me. I'm pretty certain I gave you some of it. Did I not? And man, I gotta, Ed, it's been crazy. It's just been more ridiculous than it's ever been. Am I in the shot here? Why do I look like I'm way off to the side? Oh, something opened up. What the heck is this? Okay, there. A menu opened up for some reason, and it was covering up half the screen, and I thought I am still kind of off to the side, aren't I? So, Couch gets upset when I'm not centered. Never tried Baby's Bottom, Phil. Just kind of didn't seem like something I'd enjoy. Thank you, Ahmed. It's in Europe, and my wife actually bought this for me from Kramer's in Los Angeles. So it's a pipe I truly cherish. No problem, Couch. I am smoking some Pelican from way back. Does anybody remember when this is from? Put my glasses on. 2013. It was a gift from Beams 316. Doug Owen, not to get political. Well, you know, Doug, I don't mind getting a little bit political here, and I'm just going to give my opinion of what's going on. I'm not going to say one way or the other. I don't want to get into who should or shouldn't, but just, you know, what the situation is. You know, if you look at the polls, you look at the voter registration data, and you look at the early voting data, and there's definitely a Republican, what's the word I'm looking for? A positive move towards the Republican Party. So that very clearly is happening in Pennsylvania and actually all over. Most of the swing states are showing that. Trump is ahead in the polls in the aggregate poll. You know, if you take all the polls and just average them all together, ignore whether you believe it or not and whether it's pro this or pro that, just average them all together, Trump comes out ahead. He's ahead in terms of just the popular vote average, which has never happened before for him. So he's in a better place right now than he ever was. And from my perspective, you know, I was one of the few people that back in 2016 truly believed he was going to win long before the election. I truly believed he was going to win in 2020, and, you know, you can argue whether or not he did. Right now, I feel better than I did either of those 2 years that he's going to win. So that's my impression of it. And here in Pennsylvania, you know, when I drive around, I do not see very many Harris signs, and I see a lot of Trump signs. So I think it's really a matter of whose base is most motivated to vote, and I think that's going to wind up being the game changer. Now, who knows? You know, it could go either way. And you know, no matter which side you're on, please get out and vote. It's extremely important. You know, it's not a given either way. And, you know, no matter which side you're falling on, you gotta make sure that you're part of that process, or you've got no right to complain about it. So that's about as political as I'm going to get. Because, and I'll say one more thing, which is not political, hopefully, but more apolitical. The truth is, we can't lose sight of the fact that even if we completely disagree on every political issue out there, we're still, you and I, me and the person I'm talking to, whoever you are still Americans. And we can never lose sight of that. You know, that's one of the beautiful things about this country, is that we can disagree. And we need to just really keep that in mind, and keep in mind that we've got a sacred responsibility to try to uphold that. So that's where I'll leave it. It will be interesting for sure. Patrick, thank you for doing that, working the polls on election day. That is a great service that you're doing. Yeah, there's been a lot of garbage floating around lately, Flint Hill. I know. Bob Kraus, good to see you, buddy. Well, Phil, I mean, I'm not surprised that you got 5 in your state, and the fact is your state is a lost cause, but thanks for making the putting out the warning. Juice bar in Ireland. Oh, Lord Hogarth, that's a good one. And I'm Irish, so I'm allowed to laugh at that. Yeah. I was watching a video this evening. It's a Catholic channel that I enjoy. The name of the channel, I believe, is Pints with Aquinas. And I can't remember the name of the guy that hosts it, but he's Australian. He's actually a U.S. citizen now, but he was born in Australia. Very bright guy, really, pretty solid on his theology, and he has some really interesting guests on. And he had a guest, and I only watched a little bit of this video, but they were talking about the election, and he said, how do you see this playing out? And before you answer, I'm going to tell you how I'm choosing who to vote for. And I thought this was really interesting, and not a way that I've thought about this in the past. He said, I'm going to vote for the candidate that I believe hates me the least. And I thought, well, first off, it's kind of depressing that it's come to that, but what an interesting way to think about it. Which candidate hates you the least? Matt Frad, thank you, Flint Hill. Yes. I know, Phil, and I hope you're happy about that. Hey, Paragon, do me a favor. For the love of God, don't ever video that, okay? I'm glad that you're also volunteering, but please do not video that. I don't either, Big Dave, but apparently some folks view us that way. If you can keep it, that's right, Creator. Phil, I didn't even know that Holy Smoking Pipe Padre was doing lives. I used to watch him quite a bit. Then he got into, like, everything was about diet and exercise, and I just didn't like it anymore. But when he would do pipe related videos, I really enjoyed him. And he's actually, in an odd way, he's one of the people that got me into YouTube, because I made a comment on one of his videos that was read and responded to by Grandpa Cavendish. And that's how I struck up a friendship with Grandpa Cavendish. And he's the guy that encouraged me to make YouTube videos. So if it wasn't for Holy Smoking Pipe Padre, I wouldn't be here today. Well, I'd be here today. Well, maybe I'd be here today. I assume I'd be here today, but I wouldn't be on YouTube. I might not be here today. Who knows? Patrick switched over to a lot of Kia as well. A lot of Kia Flake H&H in his Fridays, evidently. I think the furnace is going to come on. I hear the new Aquastat clicking. Hello, Sailor. Good to see you, buddy. The furnace is now on. If you notice the audio quality, go to hell. I apologize. Go to heck. Oh, Peter, don't do that. Some people just don't understand hyperbole. Creator, I think typically when people talk about a seasoned pipe, they just mean it's well broken in. Maybe someone else thinks differently, but that's how I've always interpreted that. HE double toothpicks or double hockey sticks, Jeffrey. Yes. Yeah, mushroom leg. I love that. I would love when he would fight the friend. That's a great movie. I probably told this movie. I probably told this story 100 times, but for for many now, my wife and I have been married 25 years, and for a good 18 years of that, every year I would say, Christmas would roll around, and I'd say, "Ooh, um, It's a Wonderful Life is on," and she would say, "I hate that movie." So, okay. And, it'd be things like, I can't stand that movie. I'm not watching that. And I would think to myself, what have I gotten myself into? What kind of a person hates It's a Wonderful Life? I mean, you might say I don't like it. You might say I'd rather not watch it, but to say I hate it and I can't stand it, what is it about that movie that, but she was pretty adamant about it, and I knew better than to try to debate her on such things because I love her, but she's a woman and she doesn't listen to logic. I know I'm going to get in trouble for that, but it's true. Women view the world differently than men do, and I'm not going to convince her of anything. If she's decided she doesn't like something, there's nothing I can do about it. So we went on for a good 18 years where every year I'd say, "Oh, It's a Wonderful Life," so I can't stand that movie. And one year, she said it, and I was puzzled enough, and I said, "What don't you like about that movie? I mean, it's a classic. I don't understand how you could be so adamantly against such a classic film." And she said, "Oh, I just hate it they play it all the time. Every Christmas it's on, they repeat it over and over again, and the whole thing about the kid getting his eye shot out and everything else." And that's when I realized for 18 years, I had been talking about It's a Wonderful Life, and she had been talking about A Christmas Story. Um, so for 18 years, we were arguing over two different things. So yeah, she doesn't like The Christmas Story. Probably because my wife has never watched more than about 15 minutes of anything. She's got a very short attention span. If she's watching TV, she's got to have her phone or her computer or something open. She can't just pay attention to something. It's very hard for her to just sit down and watch a movie. I think A Christmas Story is one of the funniest and most entertaining movies that's ever been made. Certainly holiday movies. But I also think It's a Wonderful Life is a fantastic movie. So anyway, thought you'd enjoy that story. I love the going blind scene, Doug. Yeah, that's a good one. Piper on the 45. I do not use Brigham pipe cleaners for that reason. I only use what do I use? The BJ Longs. And they're not perfect, but they've served me well for many years. How many clocks do you have to turn back on Sunday? That's a good question, Michael. Let's all try to answer that one. For me, it's 4. Oh, and a watch, so that's 5. Thank you, Patrick. White Christmas is a good one, Peter. Very good one. Maybe she would like Black Christmas mushroom. Like, I don't know. I highly doubt it. I don't know why anybody would not like that movie, Doug. And yeah, the leg lamp. She actually bought me a mug with the leg lamp on it. I mean, that's my Christmas mug that I bring out for the Christmas live stream. She bought that for me. Oh, Sailor, Home Alone, Christmas movie. I don't know. I kind of put Home Alone in the Die Hard category of things that are wannabe Christmas movies. Yes, it takes place at Christmas, but is it a Christmas movie? Holiday Inn, Clint. No, I'm not sure I remember that one. Ron, that's either why she watches Hallmark movies or it's because she watches Hallmark movies. I don't know which. Oh my goodness, Doug, you have to set 35 clocks at work. Wow. And a dozen at home. Wow, you're going to be busy. Big Country Briar, how's it going, Cole? Had a fine Halloween here. Hope you did too. Now, wait a minute, Chad. I'll give you a Christmas Vacation. But Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was a Thanksgiving movie, if I'm not mistaken. And Chad, you probably don't know this, but I am firmly against the idea that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and that leads me down a whole rabbit hole of what is and is not a Christmas movie. That's why I'm being so adamant about this. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about, Patrick. Now, the Holiday Inn, yes, I do know that movie and White Christmas. Yes, thank you. Christmas Carol with Reginald Owen, that's a good one. Well, is Home Alone about Christmas, Chris? That's the point. I mean, it takes place at Christmas time, but the only reason you know it's Christmas is that's why the family leaves, right? It's not a Christmas movie. There's nothing Christmassy about it. Oh, now Mushroom Legs jumping. Yeah, you know what? I think this one is going to be harder for me to win than the Die Hard one. Cole, it's only been like the past 5 minutes we've been talking Christmas movies. I don't even remember how we got onto it. And Chris, I do have something very special to launch the holiday season at the end of November. That'll that'll make several of you quite happy. So thank you for that, buddy. Patrick, I don't know that I've ever seen The Bad Santa. The whole point is his family trying to be together for Christmas. The old man neighbor learns the true meaning of Christmas with his family. All right, Chris. I started it. I kind of vaguely believe that's true, Michael, but I cannot for the life of me remember how I started it. Well, Mushroom, like you almost made me choke on that one. I can't believe you just typed that message. Mushroom Leg says it's a Christmas movie because he wishes for his family to disappear, but in the end he realizes all he wants for Christmas is his family back. Okay. Maybe I just have to rewatch it. Maybe that's my problem. That's not gonna happen. I watched it exactly once. I think Stooge got a bad deal, Doug. I agree with you. It happened on Fifth Avenue. Is that the no, no, it's Miracle on Something Street with Sebastian Cabot. That was always a that you knew it was Christmas time when that movie came on one of the UHF channels. I think Cratchit was a socialist, Lord Hogarth. I agree with you. You know, Paragon Piper, I think it was Phil Rivera that got me to watch Fat Man, and I love that movie. I am gonna that is a Christmas movie. If you haven't seen Fat Man with Mel Gibson, it is a great movie. I don't think my wife has seen that one yet, and I've got it, so we'll be watching that for as we get close to Christmas. She can put that on her list of movies she doesn't like. Michael, Scrooge is a favorite, and my wife does like Scrooge. And Carol Kane makes that movie. When she hits Bill Murray with the toaster, I think it was a toaster. I laugh every time I see that happen. I don't know, Patrick. Maybe it's all going to make up for that extra hour we get tomorrow night. But the time has flown. Look at that, 2 minutes to go, and I'm still way behind in my beer consumption. Miracle on 34th Street. That's the one I was thinking of, Smooth Piper. Thank you. Elf, I like Elf. The Santa Claus, Patrick. Yes, I've seen that. That's a good one. All right, Gary. Thanks for joining us, buddy. I hope you feel better, my friend. Well, Patrick, we're going to have to because it's going to take me a little bit of time to finish this, but we'll go slightly over. We're not going to do a whole half hour though. I've been pushing this for a while now, but Trancers is a Christmas movie. If you haven't seen Trancers, find Trancers and watch it. It's a Christmas movie. If Die Hard's a Christmas movie, Trancers is a Christmas movie. What is this count of 10 things? Cole did it, and now Flint Hill's doing the count of 10. I don't know what that's from. Oh, Big Dave's still here. I think some of the finest Christmas films were Peanuts, uh, Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. Is that the one with the bear tree? And of course, the Grinch Who Stole Christmas is a classic. Anytime you get to hear the voice of Bela Lugosi, it's I'm sorry, Boris Karloff. That's being very honest, Sailor, and mine does as well. You know, to be super honest with you, I don't really watch that many Christmas movies. I mean, if they're on and I've got nothing else to do, I'll watch it. But it's not like I have a list of movies that I have to watch every year. Never saw that, Patrick. I'm not a Jim Carrey fan, so I never saw the live action Grinch movie. Yeah, I think Home Alone could be considered a fake gangster movie. I'm okay with that. Fargo is a fine winter film, yes. The Bishop's Wife, yes, Cary Grant. That is a good movie, Michael. Oh, I love The Black Cat. Yes, that is a great movie, Doug. Very, very spooky atmosphere in that movie. That's the one with the flailing at the end, Doug. Really, very powerful scene. Gremlins? Does Gremlins have anything Christmas? I don't remember Gremlins. I remember the Gremlins. I just don't remember anything about the movie. So this has nothing to do with Christmas, but I've been watching a really fantastic show on Netflix. Um, I don't know if this is going to be your thing, but it's a Korean-made show called Young Sung Creature, and Young Sung is spelled with a G. It's like Gyeu. If you search Gye, you'll probably find it on Netflix, but it's pronounced Young Sung Creature, and it is just a really good, spooky, like dramatic monster movie with all this sort of World War II Japan occupation of Korea intrigue going on and stuff. It's fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. It's 2 seasons. I don't know how many episodes per season. I'm on episode 8 right now, and highly recommend it if you got Netflix. Just check out the first episode, and you'll know whether or not you're gonna like it. You gotta love a man who had 2 bar mitzvahs. Can't argue with that creator. So the basic storyline of this, and I don't think I'm giving anything away, is because it's in the first episode. The Japanese are doing illegal human experiments on prisoners, and I don't think I've seen Parasite, Patrick, but that sounds interesting. Uh, so they're doing these illegal experiments on the prisoners in an attempt to turn them into some highly evolved creature that can be a weapon for them. And they, again, I'm not giving anything away because it's like within the first 15 minutes of the first episode, they are successful, and everything else goes from that. But it's not just a monster movie. It's got a love story. It's got people looking for lost loved ones because people are disappearing, and it's because they're going into these prisons to be used in the experiments. Um, it really got me hooked. I mean, in the first 15 minutes of this, I was absolutely hooked. Parasite won an Academy Award? I'll have to look into that, Patrick. Creator wants to know what I think about ESP and telekinesis. Um, well, Creator, I know of no actual scientific evidence that supports the existence of either of those things, but I would not rule them out. Um, that's about all I can say. A lack of evidence is not evidence for non-existence. Cole, on Netflix, you can choose subtitles or English, and I usually do subtitles, but this one came on with the English dubbing, and I just stuck with it, and it's good. The dubbing is actually quite good on this. See, there's a problem in neuroscience, Creator, and it's called the difficult problem, and that is, how do you explain consciousness? And I promise not to get too geeky on you in the last few minutes here, but we can make a thing that kind of mimics consciousness in ChatGPT or Google Gemini or whatever your favorite natural language model is, and these things pass the Turing test. So if you're talking to one of these natural language models, you might not realize that you're not talking to a person. Okay, so that's great. We've created a rudimentary mimic of intelligence. We could not possibly scale that down into a box the size of the brain. Okay, it requires massive servers and everything else in order to run it quickly enough that we think that it's real. So what I guess I'm trying to say is there's an awful lot about the brain that we don't understand, and there are some folks that wonder if it's all there, like if it's all hardware, or if there's not something else that maybe the brain is more like and now I'm getting really like way out there, wacky left field. Nobody would, I'd probably be drummed out of my job for saying what I'm about to say, but maybe the brain isn't a computer. Maybe the brain is a receiver of some sort. Well, that could open you up to all sorts of possibilities, and ESP and telekinesis. Yeah, why not? Why not? We know that there are signals that our brain produces that you can record externally, but they're very, very small. You need really powerful amplifiers to be able to detect them. Whether that could actually have any impact on the natural world or any influence over anyone else, it's unlikely. But could there be channels for such things? Could there be amplification mechanisms or something? Yeah, why not? So there you go. I just probably talked about things you never thought we'd hear on the live stream. The Pelican is fantastic, Jeffrey. It's a nice, mellow English, and it's probably mellow because of the age, but got some good Virginia foundation to it. It's good stuff. They are nursing a grudge for sure, Lord Hogarth, at least in this movie. Oh, so Parasite is a series, Patrick. Even better. I like that I can watch, like, these are actually long. These are about an hour long episodes. I think the first one is shorter than an hour. But I like that being able to watch it for, several nights. I just enjoy kind of getting invested in it. And then I get really sad when it's over. Michael wants the wetware over the hardware. Gotcha. Jimmy Aiken is a great instructor, Flint Hill. And I've been thinking about getting in touch with him to see if he'd like to get interviewed someday. He's a pipe smoker too, and I'd love to spend some time talking to him. I've been listening to him for a long, long time, and I think it would be really fascinating to talk to him. You know, not as a Catholic apologist, which is what he is, and you know, not to get into a big religious thing on the live stream, but to just talk to him about his life and his pipe smoke. I think that'd be really fascinating. Grasshopper 673. I'm not familiar with that particular theory, but I know a lot of theories about reality being VR, reality being a hologram, and yeah, you can't prove it, so you can't prove it or disprove it. The problem, Flint Hill, is that he did it recently with another YouTube channel that I do not want to mention because this guy has had some problems, and I just think there might be some bad blood there. So I've been a little reluctant to approach him. Maybe early next year I can reach out to him. Hey, Central Cal Piper, glad you're enjoying. Yes, folks, please do like. Thank you, Smooth Piper. Please do like it. It's not for me, but it helps build the community. It helps people see that this exists, and then they say, "Oh, there's other YouTube videos," and that's a good thing. Nothing's provable. All right, folks. I said I wasn't going to go another half an hour, but Grasshopper 673 just got me on another rant. So, by all means, if you want to go, have a great weekend, and we'll talk next week. Flint, how are you you mean the YouTube issue, or do you mean the nothing is provable issue? Oh, you must mean the YouTube issue. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. But we'll see. Maybe early next year he'll think differently. Nothing is provable. So I this is something that I've thought about a lot. You know, you've got, how do you prove something? Well, we talk about causality. You know, A happens and then B happens, and they seem to be causally linked. Well, really, it's very, very difficult to prove that. And there was a guy, an Australian philosopher named Karl Popper, who said that no matter how hard you try, if you want to say A causes B, somebody can always come along and say, oh, but there might be C in the middle. There might be another event in the middle that you can't see, that you can't experience right now, that you have no way of measuring, that could mediate the effect of A on B. And you can't get around that. It's not possible. And then you've got the whole Gödel incompleteness theorem, which, if anybody knows what I'm talking about at this point, you are probably really happy that I'm talking about this, and everybody else is really bored. But Kurt Gödel basically proved that any system that is consistent cannot be proven. And in order to prove it, you have to make it inconsistent, which is a fascinating problem. So, you know, I know I'm babbling about things that nobody cares about right now, but there is a fundamental issue with how we, I don't want to say how we do science, because I think we're doing science the best we can, but how we understand the world. And this kind of gets back to what I was getting to with the whole hard problem of consciousness. We can only understand what we're capable of understanding. You know, we're a part of this consciousness. We're a part of this world, and we can't step outside of ourselves. You know, we can't possibly. It may be impossible for us to understand things that are more complex than our own selves. So, boy, I bet you didn't tune in for that, but it's Grasshopper's fault. He got me going. We're there, guys. So I said I wasn't going to go another half an hour. I only went another 15 minutes. I'm proud of myself for that. So we're going to draw this to a close. I want to thank you all for joining me, especially if you hung on for the last 15 minutes where I babbled on about philosophy and science. It's really hard to pin down anything pertaining to mine other than the nuts and bolts. Yeah, absolutely, Flinthill. Absolutely. The nuts and bolts we can do really well, but that's algorithmic, and we're probably not algorithmic beings. So, okay. Yes, I better zip it. I better zip it, Grasshopper, not you. Subjectivism is the devil in the details there, Jeffrey. Okay, I'm gonna stop this now. Please stop. Please stop encouraging me. Thank you, Patrick. It's the highlight of my week. It's so good to spend this time with you guys every week. I really do enjoy it. So thank you for tuning in. I will be back next week with another live stream, and we'll have more of whatever this is. I will be back on Sunday with a video, and I will talk about something as well. So with all that, folks, have a fantastic weekend. And if I don't see you on Sunday, have a great week ahead. And until then, enjoy yourselves. And take good care, my friends.